Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the Slothz BMW team. It's the penultimate race. We're spending all of our money because we've literally got more than we know what to do with at this point. And we're getting on with, an aerodynamics department event, apparently. We're going to spend that even though we're not actually getting any aero upgrades anymore because we've got them all. So we're on to the penultimate race. There's a 15-point difference between myself and Lando Norris. We've got one sprint race, one full race, and then the finale to get through. Obviously, the one thing that we don't want to happen is rain here in Brazil. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be none in Abu Dhabi, but we do have to be careful because if we have rain, there will be issues for me because I cannot drive very well in the wet. At least not very fast comparatively to the AI. As you may have seen just there, interestingly, we're picking up some upgrades for parts that we've already unlocked. The DRS upgrades we actually had, I think way back in Season 2 we had that finished off. And there was also one for the MG UK I think I saw just now as well, even though we've already unlocked them all. But one last gearbox upgrade and now it's the race. Well then, it's overcast here in Brazil for the sprint race, but not any rain as of yet. So far, all looking good. But of course, things can change very quickly in all of these races. And of course, it is still very difficult to tell when the crossover point is, besides just waiting for the stewards to turn off the DRS. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell as well so you know when all of these races are uploaded, because next week's going to be a busy one with F1 23 coming out. Don't forget to comment down below if you're looking forward to that one. Anyway, onto the starting grid we go, and sitting on P1, somehow we are ahead of our teammate Lando Norris by just over 1.5 tenths. Absolutely excellent. Third pole position in a row. We're followed by Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. Behind them, Charles Leclerc and Robert Schwartzman. Max Verstappen and Lance Stroll. And rounding out the top 10, we have Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez. Behind them, Esteban Ocon and George Russell. Yuki Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri. Kevin Magnussen and Teo Pourchaire. Alex Albon and Liam Lawson. On the penultimate row, it's Dan Ticktum and Zhou Guanyu, and finally, it's Nicholas Latifi and Mick Schumacher, and we're going to go straight down to the grid for the sprint race. Right, here we go then, 6 laps around Brazil, which could ultimately decide the World Championship, and we're away here. It's a good start from Norris as we come down to turn 1. He's going to get the jump on us into the first corner. Unfortunately, we're going to run wide there. Can we dive it down the inside? No, we cannot, as both McLarens defend from the Ferraris there. Behind, we're going to keep going as long as we can. 6 laps is all we need to try and get past Lando Norris and ultimately secure ourselves that pole position into the penultimate race of the season, which at this point we need to take every chance that we can, even if it means going a little bit too extreme. As we come down through the windy sections, though, we've got a yellow flag on track in the background as Lando Norris continues to move forward, but Mick Schumacher's out of the session, and we've got a safety car for a 6-lap race. This is the replay. Looks like Latifi there, looking to go for a move on Zhou Guanyu into this section. Oh my god, massive shunt there. Nicholas Latifi destroying the back of an Aston Martin, and in return having his own asshole completely examined by Mick Schumacher. Let's go on board. Yeah, that's terminal damage right there, and that is Dan Ticktum telling him to get out of the damn way. There's a nice onboard view though. Look at that. Carbon fibre going everywhere. So then it's time to get the restart underway. There goes the safety car. And Norris there going quite slow right before he jumps and goes at the restart. But we're going to go for a move into turn 1. We're not wasting any time here as we go up the inside. We run it wide just to force him off onto the turf if we can. And it's gone all wrong for Lando Norris into turn 1, and all right for us as we make a breakaway. Can Robert Schwartzman disrupt even further? Norris is going defensive here into turn 3 or 4. but he somehow managed to hang on to it. This is the replay. Norris is completely unaware of that we were coming there and nearly caused an accident, but we've managed to get away with it and take away that position. And we rejoin on lap 6. Norris is going to get DRS here, but can he actually use it to make any gains? This is the one time he's going to, and for the first time ever, we've actually got an appropriate use of the rear-facing camera. And Norris is closed up, but it's not really significantly enough as we come into the uphill section. Great overtaking opportunity here around this corner right there. That kind of double right-hander. And in we go into the bowl. Up the hill again. Norris losing time as this is one of the areas that we are much stronger than him around here. And we seem to have secured our P1. That'll be a nice 8 points in the bag at the end of the sprint race. And 7 for Norris. So we're going to gain 1 point, making a 14-point difference as we come ploughing down towards the finish line. No one can challenge us now. Norris is closing up slightly, but it's not going to be enough as we cross the line here in Sao Paulo for the first of 2 times on this race weekend. And that could be the difference. Could it be enough to help us win this championship? We're just going to have to find out by sticking around. Don't miss a thing. There are the final results for the sprint race. As you can see, I'm not going to read them through, though I will summarise everything at the end. If you want to pause the video there, feel free. And here we are in Brazil. The heavens have opened. The one thing that we didn't want to happen before the end of the season, the rain, may have sealed the fate of the championship with Lando Norris now. Very wet conditions here in Brazil. It will be full wet tyres as we go into this race. So don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell as well. And we'll get on with the starting grid for Sao Paulo after the sprint race. But this could all go down the shitter within just a few corners, given the absolutely abysmal track conditions out there today. Here we are with the race start order, and there we are on the pole position, still ahead of Lando Norris. Actually, that makes it our 4th pole position in a row, if you count the previous sprint race. Behind us, Robert Schwartzman and Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll, Max Verstappen, and rounding out the top 10 we have Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly. Then we have Théo Pourchaire and George Russell, Oscar Piastri and Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen, Liam Lawson and Esteban Ocon. On the penultimate row, Joe Guan Yu and Dan Ticktum, and then the crash buddies of Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. He rightly received a penalty, presumably for crashing into an Aston Martin. 2 of them, in fact. And there we are. There is the Drivers' Championship right now. It's so close. It's 14-point difference. But with the rain, it could go very much in Norris's favour. There's the GOAT, unable to do anything to stop the rain, unfortunately. And there's our driver looking a little bit washed out, to say the least. Not quite in the happiest mood. Let's see how we get on then with the Brazilian Grand Prix. Okay then, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Brazil. This could end absolutely catastrophically, but somehow we got an amazing start for the first time ever, right when it counted. We've somehow managed to do this, and we stay ahead of Lando Norris, who's actually tumbling down the order. What's going on with Lando Norris there as he falls back to P5 behind both McLarens and Ferraris, and we go flying down the first of the straights here. We're going to be under attack from Fernando Alonso and Robert Schwartzman as we come into this corner here. You can see how slow we're going. I think we just got hit by Alonso as well from behind. I've been looking behind and he crashed into the curb as we go up the hill. Very, very cautious because I don't want to spin into the gravel, well, concrete, and into the barriers. Through into the bold section we go. Somehow managed to pull out a 1-second lead actually over Fernando Alonso. He may have received some damage from boom, crashing into us there, assuming that was him and not Robert Schwartzman. Somehow, we're completely unharmed. The tyres have warmed up, and we've now got a 2-second lead as a damaged McLaren holds up the entire field. We'll come around. Oh, big slide there, but we've managed to keep it together. This is the start for Lando Norris. Not the best of getaways, actually, for Norris there as we come into turn 1. Oh, we get absolutely shot forward there. Was there more contact behind us? Norris stays out on the really tight line and has to slot in behind 2 Ferraris who are fighting through the first few corners. This is Alonso into turn 1. And Fernando Alonso may have just single-handedly decided the World Championship there as he shunts us into P1 and then blocks the entire field. This is lap 4 and we're already 1.2 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Unfortunately, though, due to the setup we have on, we are incredibly slow in a straight line, so this is not ideal for us. And Charles Leclerc now holds the fastest lap, which really isn't good whatsoever. This is us on lap 5 with a weather report. And it's an interesting statement from Not Jeff there, the intermediate tyre now the fastest according to him. And what will the field do to respond? Presumably the AI will begin to filter in, but we've seen before that the strategies can be all over the place. Some may stay out, but who's going to come in? Who is going to blink first? You can see it's slippery as hell out there. We're coming in, that's for sure. And we're going to hope to try and claw our way back at the field. We did a similar thing in Belgium a few seasons ago. And actually, the other man that did that with us, Sergio Perez, has come into the pit. And actually, so is Max Verstappen. So the Red Bulls are double stacking. Clearly, they know something someone else doesn't. We've got a Haas crew coming out for presumably Piastri. And away we go on the intermediate tyres. Lots of cars going through, but where will we come out at the end of all this? We've got more cars coming in. Robert Schwartzman, he was right behind us. He's coming for Inters. We are now at the front of the field for intermediate runners, and we are P14. So we've got quite a lot of room to improve here. And actually, up ahead, there seems to be an Alpine or a Williams causing havoc on track, causing a bit of a train there. That's a little bit interesting. It must be Albon because Nicholas Latifi is 2 positions ahead of us right now as we prepare to chase the Aston Martin up the hill. He's still on the wets. And we dive to the inside. He's all over the place here. And we're going to have to take a very tight line up the hill. We run wide. And the Aston Martin is going to come back at us. He's still got a little bit more traction than we do. And he's faster in a straight line because of this dumb setup thing that we got going on here. But as we come into turn 1, we're going to have to surrender our position away to Joe Granu and follow him just a little bit longer. We've got time. Robert Schwartzman's still back there, and it doesn't look as though anyone else is coming in just yet, which could be bad for them. Look at the conditions out there. It's absolutely hideous. So we look for a move there. Not quite on Joe Granu. Up the hill we go. Into the braking zone we go, and completely demonstrated that manoeuvre, which I said earlier on. The outside line there, a really good opportunity to get past some cars. But here we go in P12 now. Someone else must have come in. And the rain is visibly lighter as we set the fastest sector 2. Liam Lawson up ahead in the Audi. We're actually gaining on him out of the corner, so I guess the wets aren't providing as much traction anymore on corner exit. Look at Charles Leclerc's lead as well on the minimap. Absolutely incredible. We set a 1:16.0 as the fastest lap as we go up the inside of Liam Lawson. Thank you very much for the tow there, Liam, as we carry on. And then Sergio Perez goes 2 tenths faster, so the conditions are really beginning to start having an impact here on lap time. But is it enough to catch the Ferraris? Lando Norris is still only P3 and appears to have an Alpine behind him, so we've got a really mixed up field going on here. Behind us, an Aston Martin appears to be in everyone's way, and then we've got Schwartzman and a Red Bull in pursuit. Up the inside of Magnussen now. Take the position away from him. What can we do on Tsunoda here? The wet tyre. Although we're not very good in the wet, the intermediate's performing so much better. We're going to dive down the inside of Tsunoda on the brakes. We get him up the inside, and now it's Alex Albon in the Williams, and surely we're not going to be slower than the Williams in a straight line. As we come through onto the pit straight / pit corner. Someone's got an issue behind, apparently. We get up the inside of Albon and chase down towards turn 1 because he's going to come back at us. We got a yellow flag as Max Verstappen presumably retires from the race right outside the pit lane. And we go up the inside of Albon, and that will be that there. We've got Esteban Ocon up ahead of us next. Let's see what we can do here. 3.5 seconds ahead of us. And here we are, just 2 seconds behind him. Another fastest lap. We're into the 1:15s now, 1:15.7 for our lap times. Esteban Ocon, 1.5 seconds ahead. Let's see how quickly we catch him here. Norris up ahead, still having an issue trying to get past potentially Carlos Sainz. As we rejoin behind Esteban Ocon, as we make the run down towards the final corner. Look how much traction we have compared to the wet tyre right now. We get him on the brakes down the inside. We can ride the curb, not too much, but just enough to try and get us up the inside. But this is where we're going to be in danger yet again. The wet tyre, not a factor here for straight line speed as Esteban Ocon begins to close in on us. That is a very intimidating thing to see in the mirror as we go into the braking zone. I think we locked up there and hit him, but we managed to keep the position, and he'll probably back off now. Théo Pourchaire now sets the fastest lap in the Audi. Our former teammate from season 1 and 2.
Okay, the rain should be ending shortly. Be ready for the grip to come back, but don't overheat the tyres.
That is confirmation of the rain ending imminently from Jeff, or not Jeff, and a warning not to overheat the tyres. He also mentioned we're 7 seconds behind Norris, so look at where he is on the map. That's 7 seconds between the two of us. And a safety car has come out with just 5 laps to go, and that could cost Lando Norris the World Championship right there. What's gone on? This is Sergio Perez on Alonso into turn 1. Alonso on the wets, Perez on the intermediates. There's contact there, and Alonso decides to have a tantrum by going really slow again, but hasn't retired. But that wasn't it. This is Pierre Gasly into turn 1, and he's not slowing down. Oh, he crashes into the back of the Williams and loses his entire front wing. This is on board with Robert Schwartzman, who was presumably the one attacking. Watches it unfold, and I guess Robert Schwartzman can't argue with that, because that is a free position that he's just getting there. After Gasly's going to come into the pits. Safety car is coming in. There's going to be 2 laps of sprinting to the end. Everyone ahead is on the wet tyre. We are on the intermediates. Robert Schwartzman, the next intermediate runner, is in P10. And we're already going for a move on George Russell into turn 1. We're also going to go on the inside of Pierre Gasly as well. Into turn 1 we go. It must have been Yuki Tsunoda who lost his front wing earlier, but that's 2 position gain already. We got 2 laps to try and get past Lance Stroll, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. This is unbelievable. The rain has stopped and everyone's out on wet tyres. They can't even defend from this right now. They are sitting ducks. As Lance Stroll here, we got a yellow flag in the background. We got an Audi, that's out of the session. It's Dan Tickton, but who gives a shit? Up the inside of Lance Stroll we go, and we're now just 1 position behind Lando Norris, with just a few corners to go. This is our move into turn 1. Down the inside of Russell. There's Gasly. Gasly tries to defend it by making contact, but it doesn't make any difference. We're up the inside. And we rejoin just a corner later behind Norris. He knows what's coming, and he will be defending this because his title, the one that he has failed twice at McLaren to win, is on the line. But look how much traction we have through the corner. The track is beginning to dry up. You can see from the halo there's no more rain coming down. He is going to have a straight line speed advantage. That we can't avoid. But in the corners, he is very weak, as we're already looking to the inside of Norris. We're not going to go for him into turn 1, but we're on the final lap Just a handful of corners to go. On board with us. Chasing down our teammate, the man who has legged this championship from the beginning. What can we do as we come into the uphill section? We're going to go on the Verstappen line. Outside of the track limits. Up the hill we go. Lando Norris will defend this with every last inch, but it's not enough as we go around the outside of Lando Norris. He sighs because he's fighting so hard in the background, but it's not enough. But this could be catastrophic with the championship. We're going to go round the outside of our former teammate Carlos Sainz, who for some reason went back to Ferrari after just one season. And now it's just Charles Leclerc standing between us and a win in Brazil. And not only that, but a win in the wet, which is historical on this channel. This is unbelievable. We get so much better traction out of the final corner. Leclerc doesn't even see us coming as we get up the inside. And now it's a race to the finish. Charles Leclerc is fast in a straight line. He goes to the outside, and it's a drag race here. We make contact very slightly, and a photo finish has taken us to the line. And if you stick around, you'll see in just a moment what that's done to the Drivers' Championship. In fact, I can't wait to tell you. I'll tell you now. We are now level on points going into the final race with Lando Norris. He has led this season the entire way. And now we go into the final race with not 1 point between us. Nothing between us at all. The Constructors' Championship is at hand. We don't even need to worry about the team game. This is all about every man for himself at this stage. As we pick up yet another win. And we'll get on with the race results and ultimately the Drivers' Championship standings. Stick around. And here we are with the final weekend results. We did pick up P1 in the sprint race, and we got the fastest lap, which means we gained a massive 15 points over Lando Norris over the entirety of the weekend. So what does that mean for the Drivers' Championship? Well, that means that we're now level on points, 102 ahead of Max Verstappen in third, then Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Robert Schwartzman, George Russell and Lance Stroll will make up the top 10. Behind them, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Théo Pourchaire, Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Nicolas Latifi, Joe Guan Yu, Mick Schumacher and Dan Ticktum. And over to the Constructors' Championships. We're nearly on 600 points at BMW, with Red Bull on just over 300 in second. Then we have Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Alpine, Ford, AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Audi and Aston Martin. And that's all for this video. We'll catch you next time for the season finale in Abu Dhabi.